Okay, so what makes a great listener, Gina? Yeah. Hmm.
So, it's a behavior, right? So it's not like we are a good listener or we're not a good listener. The behaviors involved in empathic listening have to do with participating and expending energy, right? So if we're just hearing a message, we're spending very little energy, and if we're spending any, it's usually because we're directing that energy inward and we're just trying to figure out what we're going to say in response to what someone has said to us. So that's not empathic listening. So the empathic listening behaviors would involve asking questions, making sure we understand the message by clarifying, ask the speaker to clarify and say what, can you help me understand, or can you explain that further, or tell me more about that. So you're eliciting more information and sentiment and the feeling behind it. So yeah, these are things we can do. Ask the questions. We can nod and encourage
Mm,
as the person is speaking. You can, acknowledge what they're saying with an uh-huh or yes, that kind of thing. Shaking your head, that sort of thing. But in being involved, and of course, our body language can influence how well we're listening. It can also send messages back to the speaker that we're open and we're engaged. If we're maintaining eye contact, if
mhm,
we're have an open posture, we're not sitting there with our arms crossed or our jaw set or looking away, that kind of thing.
mm,
So we can practice some of these behaviors, mirroring back to what the person says, so that it's reflected and they can decide, oh, I didn't really mean that, and so they further clarify. They might say, oh, did I say that? Well, I didn't really mean that, and here's what I meant. So it enables them to hone their message,
mm,
simply because we've asked for clarification or we've restated it back to them in a way that they get to examine their words and maybe decide that's not exactly what they wanted to say. And along those lines, it's really important that we use their words, not our words. We don't want to infer a sentiment. We don't want to say, "Oh, you said you were angry about X," when the person said, "I was disappointed." Right. So that's a difference in intensity that's significant. So we
yeah.
don't want to inject our own interpretation of what they said. We
Mhm,
want to really mirror back what they've said and
mm,
match that level of intensity, right? We don't want to read anything into it because that would be attributing, something that they didn't really convey. Um,
mhm,
so these are some of the behaviors involved in active listening or empathic listening.
mhm. Yeah, nice.